Welcome to another episode of Boss Your Morning Hacks, teaching you the what, why, and how to boss your morning effectively for life-changing results.
Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining us for Boss Your Morning and a very special edition just for you. And I am so excited today to be joined by Laura Rigby. I've known Laura all my life. Laura is my sister, my best friend, my business partner. We've absolutely bossed life together and we are joining forces together to bring you some amazing information. So let me tell you a bit more about Laura and the credentials that she holds in order to bring to you some amazing value all about NLP. She's a certified neuro-linguistic practitioner who empowers others with mental fitness tools for resilience, confidence, self-belief, for success in every aspect of their lives. She's created success through exceptional leadership, allowing others to truly rise up and reach their own potential. She comes with over 10 years of leadership and performance through global training. Now, she created a company called Bright Futures, which is a mental fitness training and coaching company, after having a life-changing moment whilst coaching with the Prince's Trust. She has worked with the YMCA and schools, along with large corporate companies, providing much-needed mental fitness tools. And in 2020, she also provided 30,000 secondary school-age children online program for their mental fitness. Absolutely incredible. You're a powerful speaker and have spoken on stage to over 500 people on this subject. So looking forward to hearing from you today, Laura. Thank you so much for your time. And I know that our Boss Your Morning community are going to be over the moon to be hearing from you today. Wow, you've done so much. So can we get back to, let's take it right back to when you were younger. Did you always know you wanted to coach others in this way?
Wow, it does sound a lot, doesn't it, when you say it all like that in one go? Did I know? I always felt like I wanted to help people. I had this inner desire to help others. So I didn't know, of course, that my life would pan out like this and I would end up coaching people, let alone speaking. When I was a child, it actually took me to about 12 years old to grasp how to speak. I had a very severe stutter, honestly, I never knew even how I was going to overcome that, let alone speak in front of 500 people. I remember being asked to do assemblies and the answer was always, no, thank you. So it actually got me thinking always about helping people, but not ever really knowing how that was going to come about.
Amazing. So, you know, what made you think, do you know what, I think I'd like to become a transformational coach? Was there a moment that inspired you to kind of take a step in that direction?
Yeah, I think it was lots of clues along the way. The word belief kept coming back. The word belief, actually, whether you believe you can or you can't, then you're absolutely right. The way I got over my speech impediment, which was quite serious, was not anything technical, not anything physical. It was mental belief that I could talk. So that was the first clue, really, upon reflection, that actually your core inner belief can really either propel you forward or hold you back. You referenced there a time that I was at the Prince's Trust. I was very fortunate enough to do some pro bono work with them on their 12-week program. And I met a beautiful young girl there one day, and she looked me square in the eye, Tessa, and she said to me, Laura, I just don't believe I've got a bright future. And it was the most heart-wrenching moment. It was like, oh, that honestly, look in her eyes, she totally believed that she didn't have a bright future. And whatever life had thrown at her up until that point had, you know, compelled really her initial thoughts, inspired in such a way that created such a belief for her. I felt like I just wanted to help. So through myself and the 12-week program, the Prince's Trust, I know that she was able to go on to, achieve that program and take those life lessons forward for her. But from that moment in time, I just really knew that it inspired me so much to create my company, Bright Futures. It's named after her. and actually to give people the tools to enable them to create that mental fitness to overcome any belief that may have been acquired as a child that's no longer useful as an adult. So it was a lot of different scenarios, lots of different things that had happened to me personally, but also other people that I'd coached and worked around. I really kept coming back to this belief thing. Actually, if your beliefs support you, it propels you. If it doesn't, it can hold you back and block success for you.
Absolutely. Wow, what an amazing story. And it's that person, that's that sliding doors moment, is where that person is meant to cross your path. You're meant to be in that room, you're meant to have that conversation, you're meant to meet that inspirational lady, and she's no idea that how she inspired you that day to then go on and help so many other people. So she is fulfilling such an amazing part of her role on this planet by all the people that you're going to help going forward because of that one conversation with her. And to name your company after something that she said, wow, it's just wow. Now I know that and I've heard quite a lot of NLP in different kind of situations, and sometimes I think, actually, what is NLP? And even like neuro-linguistic practitioner, it's all a bit of a mouthful. What does it actually mean?
You're totally right, it is. Okay, so neuro is all about the mind, so it's neuroscience. So what I love about this, it's not about like religion or spirituality, it's just physically about neuroscience. And whether you are a spiritual person, it can incorporate that, but actually it comes back to raw science in the way that our brain works. Linguistic is our 5 senses and how we have used those senses from pre-birth to birth up to the age of 7 to create the map of the world that we know and believe to be true. So with neuro being the brain, linguistic being the language, I'm a practitioner that actually helps you decipher what's going on or what's happened before to you in the past that could be propelling or shaping your future now.
That's amazing. Okay, thank you for that. Do you know what? That's such a clear explanation of what it's all about. And in Boss Your Morning, we absolutely use that science of our brains all the time. Hence, I think you're the perfect person to explain why this works, because we do our affirmations and we visualize and we use all of our senses. Mindfulness is all about the senses and actually living in the present and actually tapping into those senses, which then feeds the subconscious. And I use these words often in my Boss Your Morning practice in the morning, and really kind of helping us to unwind, why does this actually work? So we now know what NLP kind of stands for. So but why does it work?
So let me give you an example here. So we have our conscious mind. So our conscious mind allows us to think in the moment. It actually has a very limited memory. So let me take you back to when you first learned your phone number. And God forbid we get a new phone number, it's a challenge, right? So because it's more than 7 pieces of new information, we actually sing it to ourselves, don't we? And have you ever been somewhere where they want to complete a form and they say your phone number in a completely different format as you've remembered it? You're like, well, hang on a minute, let me just say it how I say it, and then you can tell me if that's right. Have you ever done that?
Absolutely, yes.
That's because our conscious brain can only remember 7 pieces of information, but our subconscious memory, our subconscious mind, okay, I like to call this our storehouse of our wisdom. It's like this giant filing cabinet of every single thing you've ever been experienced, you've ever remembered, is stored away. And that actually can store over 2 million pieces of information. So it's incredibly useful for us. But actually, what we need to do as neuro-linguistic practitioners is help you make sure things are filed in the right way and that we're remembering things as how they should be. So let me give you another kind of example. Have you ever looked at a newborn baby, Tessa, and thought, what a loser that one is?
Never.
Some are prettier than others, we know that, right? But we've never looked at a newborn baby and thought, oh, this one's shy. God, this one's really religious. This one's, God, this one's going to be a real loser. We don't know any of that. That baby has core meta programs, which is what we which in the NLP world that we know to be our personality. So it's born with a type of meta program, a type of personality, but it hasn't got at that point any core belief. And the core belief is created up until the age of 7. Now, in my office, I keep a picture of myself who's about age 8. And it reminds me that actually, if I have any core beliefs that aren't serving me, they were probably created prior to this picture being taken. And what that reminds me of is, as a 42-year-old woman now, actually, I don't want a life coach that's 7 years old. We only need to meet a 7-year-old to know that they're lots of fun, but they're not, they're not full of wisdom. So when we are thinking about what our core beliefs are, so for instance, I told you before at the very beginning of this conversation that I really learned to grasp how to speak at 12. So me at age 7 was the child that couldn't string a sentence together. So what happens is, in our subconscious mind, at that moment, we're always creating beliefs that help us. So I want you to imagine that you've got a map of the world that's created. And this map of the world is there to protect you. Whatever core belief you had that you created as a child was totally there to support and help you. So in that moment, if I was a stuttering 7-year-old that couldn't string a sentence together, couldn't string words together, perhaps a core belief would have been, oh, Laura, don't say too much because people don't want to listen to you. Now, what happened to me and really compounded my belief in what I do is that I would get to a certain income level. I spoke to you before about speaking to 500 people. Can you imagine the 7-year-old girl talking to me in my head before I got on stage speaking to 500 people? She was telling me not to get on that stage. She was telling me that they would never listen to me. But of course, that core belief was not serving me any further. But instead of me being that obvious, what happens is we tend to sabotage ourselves. We tend to do things which makes us retreat away or move away from it. Rather than it being completely obvious, it's something that's there in the background of your mind. It's a subconscious thing that's happening. You may decide to decline, invitation to speak, or, for you might be able to do less work because you don't want to propel on to the next part of your business. So I personally found myself doing this, and that's why I really knew that I needed to grow up that inner core belief from age 7 to now 42 to allow myself to know that it's okay. And we can do that under a relaxed subconscious state, which is what a practitioner does for you. Now, affirmations will absolutely help you, but being with a practitioner, doing the work in an NLP state actually kind of fast forwards it. It kind of supercharges it and enables you to unblock anything that could be holding you back.
Wow, amazing information. And do you know what? I absolutely know that everyone has that inner 7-year-old, and we've all got these things, I'm sure, inside of us that, as you say, sometimes we don't even know they're there, and what is kind of holding us back. And what a great exercise that you've been on, actually, to realise, and how lucky that you've been on that journey of discovery to be able to step out on that stage and let those 500 people share all the information that you've got to give. So if someone's kind of looking at this and thinking, do you know what, this really resonates with me, or I think there's something holding me back, but I'm not quite sure what it is. I think your story is really amazing because you kind of knew what it was from a younger age, and then you've worked on that. But if someone's looking for that kind of element of discovery, to think, I'm not quite sure, I can't quite put my finger on it, how can they go about working out what it is, and how could you help them?
So I didn't actually know that it was directly linked to my stuttering, because it's a subconscious thing. When you are thinking about or trying to remember, or what could it be, the idea is that you can't remember, because you can only remember the conscious things, the 7 things that are happening right now. So the subconscious memory, the storehouse to your wisdom, holds all of this memory in there. And actually, there's lots of it there that you can't remember. You can't remember at all. So what we do within our practice is we take you through a transformational process that's bespoke to every individual person. But what I would get you to do is to start thinking about and think, do I recognize yourself in any of these? So have you had something happen to you that you just perhaps can't get over? And it might be a feeling of sadness or anxiety that you have. And the symptom of that will be quite detached from it. So for instance, like I speak to people with phobias, or if they've got consistent, like whether it's self-harm in any way, from whether it be like alcoholism or drugs, or whether it could just be biting your nails or overeating. Those are all symptoms of something that's happened perhaps before, that's in your subconscious mind. So if you're thinking about this and you're thinking, I can't quite put my finger on it, you're not supposed to. We're not supposed to know what's in our subconscious mind. It's just stored there for our use. Now, if it's not being useful for you anymore, that's where a session with an NLP practitioner can really help you unblock and uncover that. So are you feeling stuck with a goal? So your desire to achieve a goal is there, but you're unable to progress forward. That was where I was. I had this frustration that I kept going on this merry-go-round and thinking, I'm not going anywhere forward. Why is that? And actually it was when I was doing a session that I uncovered that block and what it was. So do you feel sad or pain or regret perhaps, or do you feel shame or hurt, or you feel mixed up in any kind of way but not really sure why? Are you suffering from anxiety, but again, don't know how to stop those negative thoughts and keep going round and round? Or do you experience like emotions like anger or rage perhaps, but don't really know where it comes from? And you can inherit this as well. You can inherit or hear or from other people, a phobia, for instance, something that you might have. And like having success can be a phobia. I was doing a coaching session with somebody the other day, and she's a very successful coach herself in marketing. And we were talking about, success and what success looks like. And actually her thought process of rich women meant that if you're rich and you're a woman, you're a bitch. I was like, oh, whoa, where did that belief come from? She was like, she looks at these women as if they're rich and they're mean. I was like, oh, is that true for every wealthy woman? And of course it's not, but where did that inner core belief come from? Well, if you've got an upbringing where you are particularly, in a situation where money wasn't free flowing, or you always experience hardship as a child, and perhaps as a 5-year-old you were taught that it's okay, we're not wealthy but we're kind, it could have sunk in somewhere, meaning that okay, I always want to be kind, so that means I can't then push through any income barriers or anything that I'm looking to achieve. So you see how as a child you can take something that somebody says so literally and create an inner core belief around that to protect yourself in the future. And that's the thing with this, is what I would 100% recommend for people is just to listen out for those things. Listen out and think. So if you want to set a goal or you want to achieve something, you want to do something, but something keeps coming up that's kind of stopping you, or listening to that core belief, create what I would call a change diary. So a change diary for me, like I know that, and the Boss Your Morning is so brilliant at creating like gratitude journals, and you're doing your focus in every day. Well, just have a mental note to yourself to say, if something pops up, then you think, God, that is really less than useful. That is something that's not useful for me at all, achieving life and what I want. Then I'm going to just take a note of that and just write it down exactly as you say it. And when you write that down, that's actually a belief. So the reason how you can detect from a belief and a fact, that if it's a core belief, okay, it means it's something that you've just thought of. But a fact means there's actual evidence that backs that up. So if that thought that pops up into your mind, ask yourself the question, is that factually correct? And if the answer is no, then that's a core belief that's running through your system. And that is where then clients come to me and say, either it could be, look, Laura, I've got this sadness feeling that's just heavy, it's just lifting, I can't seem to lift it. Or it could be that I'm absolutely petrified of flying or heights, and I don't know why. I've never had a plane accident, nothing's ever happened to me. Or it could be that, do you know what, I have a really inner core belief of men perhaps, or women in relationships. And that's something that we can get to work on. But you don't necessarily have to know what the core belief is. It could just be that you have a symptom that you're not happy with. And if I could ask you all just to write down for me now, like, what is the one thing that you do that sabotages yourself when no one else is looking? If I could get you to write that on a piece of paper, and don't worry, like, you can burn it or bin it later. You don't have to shred it. Don't show it to anyone. It's absolutely fine. I know from coaching hundreds of people that everybody can write something down straight away. Friends, that's what's called a sabotage. You are sabotaging yourself. You're doing something to yourself, or when no one else is looking, and it's actually, taking you away from where you want to get to in life, whether it's business, personal health, whatever it might be. That's a sabotaging action, and that will be directly linked to a core belief that you have subconsciously. So it's my job as your practitioner to guide you through a really peaceful exercise, and transformational coaching sessions will help you let go of the past, find peace and resolution in that. And it's what's different about this than something that's you may have ever experienced before is we're not interested in uncovering anything painful or talking for hours about it. And that's one of the key questions that I get asked all the time, because they're not up for doing that. They don't want to relive any trauma. And I'm not looking for you to live any trauma whatsoever. You don't need to do that. We don't need to go over that at all. But I know that I can find that in you and actually unblock, release. And the key words that my clients say to me, and I can physically see it on their physicality when we're actually in the session, they say they feel freer, they feel lighter, they feel happier. And they're like, Laura, this is magic. And I'm like, no, it's not magic. It's just neuroscience. And for me, that's what I was all about. I was all about, just give me the life hack, just give me the fast track of this. And because it's backed by science, I just love that it can be done and it can be reachable for everybody and just unblock what's been holding them back. And so many of my clients, Tessa, say that, gosh, it was like I was carrying around like a rucksack of rocks on my back and I didn't even know it was there. And then after the sessions, then they are just like free. It's gone. It's lifted. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm so passionate
about Harry Potter. I love that. Like, being free, light, happier. It's just those words, even in themselves, just hearing them kind of make me smile. And I love when you said about write the change diary and actually write down thoughts that are coming into your head that are less than useful, and writing them down because that's your belief. I absolutely love that. So we do a lot of journaling in Boss Your Morning. One of the key things we do is we write down our gratitude, we write down some actions, and actually, but what is, sometimes it's like, what is stopping people taking those actions? What's, we've got our vision, we know we visualize in the morning as well, we know where we want to get to, and it's just about kind of, as you say, get freeing up your mind and your, whatever has happened that isn't serving you. It could just be that one conversation. And I also love that you've cleared up that thing about it's not kind of that counselling, come and sit on my couch and tell me about your whole life story, but just being able to open that filing cabinet and find things and however you do it, I don't know, but I love the sound of it. But I just think it's amazing, and I think everybody will have taken something from this session, which is brilliant. And a lot of people will listen and think, actually, do you know what, I love the sound of this, but some people like to kind of read things to take things in. Have you got any kind of reference material that you can signpost people to that might be useful for people to have a look through?
Yeah, sure. So I've been an avid reader now for the last 6 or 7 years, and but prior to that, I was not. I was that person that said I'm not a reader, and thank goodness now for podcasts and for amazing abilities to watch videos like this. But what I created is I've created an ebook called How to Create Happiness Without a Filter, because I wanted to condense all of that knowledge I had into a half-hour read, into something that you can just say, just give it to me straight. Just what do I need to know, or what do I need to do? And that for me is what I've done, because also How to Create Happiness Without a Filter, for me, the reason why I named it that, prior to Instagram and everything else that's social media filters, for me, the filter was, Laura, how are you? And I'd say, I'm fine, I'm amazing, I'm absolutely amazing. I hear people saying I'm fine. I think it's code word for help. So for me, the How to Create Happiness Without a Filter, it's an ebook you can get for free on my website. So please check it out. And it's honestly, if you've got an attention span of a gnat, like I used to have prior to reading, and probably still have really. I like colour. I like, bold text. It's got all of that for you. So you've got so that's that. So Create Happiness Without a Filter. I definitely check that out and have a look at it. And also what I've done for everyone is I've created a diary system where you can click on that link and just grab 15 minutes of my time for a discovery call. And I just love it because you can know about what NLP is, but actually there's something about just having a chat. I love a chat. So for 15 minutes, you can just jump in my diary, and there's limited spots in there, of course, but just jump in there and we can just have a chat on the phone, and we can just chat about, confidentially, perhaps what that sabotage is that's going on, what that feeling is, and then I can walk you through the process if that's something you want to do. Or it might just be that How to Create Happiness Without a Filter, that might just be enough for you. Boss Your Morning is amazing. It might just be that is enough for you. But if you're feeling like it's not quite enough, I just want to fast track this. I want to be able to uncover this. And even though I've had lots of NLP sessions myself, I still follow the Boss Your Morning and set myself up for the day and do those things throughout the day as well. But NLP for me just unblocks, just creates that lighter feeling, gets rid of the stuff that you don't even know that's there. And for me, it's a little bit like, like when you get a new phone, you just want to kind of wipe it sometimes, don't you? And then just go. You don't want everyone else's old junk in there. And sometimes we just don't even know what's there. And that's what this does. It creates that lighter, freer feeling. So yeah, my Bright Futures website, which we'll be able to kind of tag for you on here, has useful information in there as well. Plus your how to create happiness without a filter. And then my diary links in there as well, if you wanted to reach out and have a chat. To get a session.
I love that, Laura. And the fact that you've actually lived through that, you've actually worked on yourself, your own personal development, you've seen the benefits of that, you've felt the benefits of that, and now you're sharing that knowledge with other people. Totally what we're all about, linking arms and raising each other up and lifting each other up, because actually happiness is what it's all about. And we in Boss Your Morning, we listen to something inspirational every day, because as you said, we are kind of conditioned by the things that we hear, the things we say to ourselves, the things we hear from other people. And as you say, that kind of internal programming is something we really, really want to get right, because there might just be something in our brains that's just holding us back from creating the life that we all totally deserve. So thank you so much for your time. I've absolutely loved chatting to you. I can't wait to read Happiness Without a Filter. It's definitely going to be on my list. And I love a quick book where you can just read through it, gain the kind of the highlights, especially when it's massively impactful as well. So thanks ever so much for being part of our Boss Your Morning series, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Boss Your Morning, every weekday with Tessa, your personal mindset mentor. A daily 30-minute live mindfulness and mindset session. Learn how to raise your vibe, boost your self-esteem, have a sense of calm, direction, and control through powerful techniques. Stay on track within a positive, uplifting community. Find Boss Your Morning in the App Store and on Google Play. Download the app to upgrade your life.